Guness. I haven't seen you for ages.
Yes, Stephen. Yes. How are you doing?
I'm good, and
There you
yourself?
go. Okay,
Good.
play an
Yes.
intro.
Yeah. I need to catch up with you, eh? Sorry, I do apologize.
Oh, don't worry, I also need to catch up with me.
Okay. Shh.
Sound.
Let me try that again. We were just talking about how being human is important to show people. Okay. Take 2.
Wake up in a panic, we're in over our heads again. We know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warriors. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Shop Show. My name is Sondra Ray, and I am the host. And I am joined by the amazing members of Explore ProTech. And we are talking about scaling your business this week. Continued from last week. So this week we're talking about challenges and strategies, because growth is painful. Did anybody get growing pains as they were growing up? Like, as your body grows. It is painful, and that's the same with business. There's definitely challenges, and of course we want to create strategies around that before we get to the challenge, if we can, hopefully. And I am super excited to welcome Mr. Levy, who is a leadership coach and also helps in the Ignite program and Explore ProTech and just a million things. Good evening, Mr. Levy.
You just unmute. Good evening, Sondra and Peter and Niki Marshall and Mikey Guness and Henrik Olada and everyone else that's watching. It's so awesome to be back on the Coffee Shop Show. Been out of action for about a few weeks, and then just to have the privilege of, I don't want to say presenting, of opening it up, because this is such a broad topic. And sure, I don't think we'll cover it in an hour, but probably a lot of it, I hope. And then we've got people here who I'm sure can give their valued input. So I'm just going to really, Sondra, first of all, thanks for asking me to do this and to open it up. And I think there's a lot of valued information that goes into scaling a business. As you said, it's not easy. It's amazing that you're talking about it now, and you did mention the Explore ProTech Entrepreneurial Haven Ignite program that they run in conjunction with Mancosa Business College. And we've actually just come off 9 or 10 weeks at AP, 10 weeks of this program. And one of the things is about, not just starting your business, but also what is the future of your business like, and what are you going to do to scale it if you want to make it, especially when it comes to making it kind of attractive to investors in whatever format that investor looks like. So I'm just going to share a screen with you quickly, Sondra. I don't know if you can see that. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so giving some thought to, scaling the business is not, first of all, scaling a business is not just about growth, and I know you spoke about the growing pains, but I want to add a word in there, and I think it's very much about sustainable growth, and that's very important. We don't just grow it and, that's it, and we head off the mountain. So it's got to align with our long-term goals. And for me, in my experience, the driving force behind this is in the form of leadership, and that leadership is generally your business owners. So that's also a broad word. The other thing I want to really emphasize is that there's really no one size fits all, because every business is different. You get service businesses, manufacturing businesses, distribution businesses, logistic businesses, and it's endless. So each one's going to require a tailored approach. But just at the outset, I think there's a couple of points that I just want to make, and that's all I'm really going to show on this slide is, and then we can talk about the rest. But one of those points is, for sure, understanding why does your business exist? Okay. It's really important to know that. And why do I say that in terms of scaling? Because you need to understand the impact that your business is going to have and the difference it's going to make by identifying the problem that you foresee in the world and the solution that you develop to overcome this problem that's going to meet customer needs. Because if you don't have the problem or the solution, you won't have to worry about scaling because you won't have a business. So I'd say that's the really basic start. And then what often we have that, and we've experienced it now, is that I've identified a real world problem and I've found a real world solution. Okay, and then we just want to go and we want to start. And there's a reason it's called scaling, because it goes in steps. But we need to also understand where we're going. So I think we need to understand where's the business heading to when we start off. And it's not always easy to predict that, because especially in the world today, things are changing so quickly. So I think this 10-year vision, just in my own experience and working with business owners, seems to be out the window. The people are talking 3 to 5 years, which is a good thing. I think it makes it a little bit, it narrows it down a bit. So in terms of being able to prepare for that scaling, makes it a little bit easier. The other point that you need to know is you need to know your starting point and where you are. And then is to have you have a clear vision, have a good starting point, and then also have a roadmap to how you're going to get there. And there ain't no straight lines to the top. So I think these are the key things to have in place before you even decide what you're going to before you're going to scale. There are a couple of key criteria. When I say it's not a one size fits all and a tailored approach, I think there's a couple of key criteria to understand that a business, and the one is, yes, knowing your way to the top and it's like having a good strategy. You have to have a good strategy, because having the privilege of working with a lot of business owners across various industries, most of them, and I was asked the question, the businesses that you're working with, what's wrong with them? And I need to emphasize this because actually there's nothing. Most of, and I'm talking about 95 to 98% of the businesses that I work with are actually successful businesses. And it's important to understand that because these people look to scale. They take their business from, they know where they're going, but their business goes up in stages and they take it from one level to the next. And they get to a level where the business is kind of plateaus. And it's not an easy place to be, but it's a good place to be. Because it's generally a sign that you need to grow, that there's something going to happen. There's growth and development going to take place. And it's a good place to stay, and it's not an easy place to stay because a lot of people also want to scale up, and there's a word that comes to mind is preparation. Whether you're starting your business to get to that camp one, if I can use the analogy of, or the terms that they use on the mountain, and then to go to the next camp. Sometimes you've got to just make sure that you're prepared that your business is prepared. The market demands might be there, the market potential might be there, which I want to speak about, but you need to make sure that your business is prepared, is soundly prepared and well prepared for that next step. And often they take that next step too quickly, or they haven't prepared for it and they need to make the next step. And so I think it's while they're traveling the journey, you've got to kind of be in the moment, but also be thinking ahead. So a couple of key criteria that I wanted to mention is understand the market opportunity. And this we did, funny enough, last week, is understand what the total addressable market is. Okay, you need to know the numbers in your market. Understand the total, the attainable market, and then your obtainable market. What part of that percentage of that market can you reach? And when you understand these numbers, okay, and you'll be able to then prepare yourself for scaling up to that, to meet the demands of those, while maintaining, and this is important, while maintaining and retaining your customers through quality service. If you drop that while scaling, that could also hurt your business a lot, could seriously hurt your business. So that brings me to kind of like, we need to look at operational, we need to understand the market, but we need to understand operational efficiencies. So we need to understand, are our operations being processes, resources, and so on, through technology, our people, our systems, are they ready to meet that increased demand? Because what happens when that demand comes? We cannot address it when it happens. And it does then also require investment, or some kind of financial investment, not always from outside investment, but which brings me to another important point. So it's market opportunity, operational efficiencies, and then there's good sound financial management and planning. You need to know where you are in your business, and you need to know the numbers of your business. Because, it's about maintaining cash flow. And it doesn't matter, as I said, if you're going to get an investor or you're not going to get an investor. In some way or another, it's going to require some funding that's vital to support this expansion. And so you have to have good financial planning systems in place. And actually, whether you're scaling or not, I think most business owners, your numbers tell a story, and you need to understand your business. You need to know where your business is at any stage. And then the last one, very important, is I mentioned before, is your people. Because that's what's going to drive the scaling process. And it's essential to, and we speak about this often, but it's essential to attract, retain, and develop the right people. And, I cannot emphasize that enough, because if you are sitting with people and you're tolerating people who are already in your business and they're not performing at their best, and I know this sounds really ideal, but it surely is attainable. But if they're not performing at their best in your current state of your business, you're going to have a problem when you scale it. And you might have to increase people, of course, but it's not always necessary, because scaling also, one of the secrets behind scaling is to try and get growth, as much growth with as little increased cost as possible to production or to your overhead cost to your business, because then your margins go. But it does, and there's one more point that I do want to, the key point that I want to bring in is time and patience. I've really seen people grow their business patiently, and they've scaled it successfully. And I'm talking about over a period of, it could be up to 20 years. And the business has been extremely successful because they were patient in their scaling. Extremely patient, and again, that's not easy. There's a big demand for your product. The potential of the market is out there, but I've had the privilege of watching one of those people and in their journey going and how they've scaled their business from a small business in Johannesburg. It's now a global business. And I will mention that person, it's my brother. And it's a manufacturing operation, but I've seen him develop it really over the past 30 years with extreme patience and discipline. And it's amazing to watch. And at times where you want to really climb into the market and go and grab it, which is natural for any passionate business person, is to make sure that your business is well prepared for that growth. And is there a risk involved? Of course there's no business that's without risk. So as you correctly said, Sondra, in the beginning, it's growth can be painful, like those growing pains, but I think the more prepared you are, the less you reduce the risk of that pain. And then there are different ways to scale your business. You can increase your product range, and then you can increase your market share, and or both. But there is something I also need to touch on, and that's the leadership. They contribute hugely to the scaling. And effective leaders there's one thing that they will do, is they will include their people in that scaling, and they will keep them informed through effective communication. So leadership is not just about control and so on. It's about really empowering your people and creating a culture in your business where everybody feels empowered, included, and involved in the business. Because it's going to contribute to your scaling, and you're going to rely on them for your scaling. So, we talk about building high-performing teams, and it seriously needs to happen. I think it's often spoken about, but and I say this with the utmost respect, it's taken a bit lightly, because it came to before. I'm not a Formula One fan at all, but since I watched Drive to Survive, I've really got to understand. It gave me a really deep understanding what a high-performing team looks like, and that's every single person in that team, not just the driver, not just the principal, even the guy that puts the nuts on the wheel in the pits when they change. If he messes up, that's it, they're gone. So I think as business owners today, when we're scaling, and we are going to include our people, again, depending on the business, we need to make sure that everybody's on board with us, and everybody, okay, if we want to make it sustainable, long-term growth, that everybody knows what their contribution is to that sustainable long-term growth. And if we do not articulate it to them, we won't be singing out the same hymn book. And the chances of achieving that are going to be extremely, are highly reduced. So I think that's just like really an overview of maybe scaling your business, and I hope it will lead into input from everybody that's, you know, I'd love to hear their input from everyone that's sitting here, and open this up for discussion. And does every business have to scale? No. Make sure that when you're scaling, you're doing it for the right reasons. Don't just be greedy and go, oh, you know, I just want to get more market share. There has to be purpose behind it, and sound reasoning and strategies. So yeah, I think that's kind of my input on it. It's very brief.
I love that. I love that, Mr. Levy. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh my gosh, so many takeaways. But I think that last one about you don't have to scale your business. Your business is your business. Take it where you want to go. And I really get flack from experts about, you know, don't you want a 6K, a six-figure, blah, 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 all these teams. I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't. That is not what I want. So knowing what you want and sticking to your values is extremely important, because people will push you and people will judge you and people all have their expertise and yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, yeah, I can love my business and grow it the way I want to grow it and be small. I have no problem to being a small to medium business. I have no intentions of being a big corporation or anything like that. And it's my goal. That's not necessarily a wrong thing. So
yes, you know, Sondra, I think two things there just quickly before you go to Pete is that's the importance of knowing in the beginning where are you going with your business? What do you want to do with your business? You know, for you, you want your business to look after you. You want to grow it. You want to look after you, your family, whatever that is. Understand that, and then know what you have to do in your business to do that. But if you want to scale it and grow it, for whatever reason, make it saleable, because you want to build up this huge wealth, and then whatever the reason is, understand what that is in the beginning, because then you will build it accordingly. So I think there's a big difference between scaling your business and growing your business.
love that. Love that. The goal. What is your goal? Totally 100%. Peter, come on in.
Yeah, I just want to highlight something that Mr. Levy said that's of vital importance. It was mentioned, but I think I want to highlight it just a little bit more. Yes, I will totally agree with the fact that it's your business and you take it where you need it to go, because not everybody needs their business to be the biggest, best thing out there. It depends on the purpose as to why the business exists in the first place. You know, so if you're pushing for it to exist for a particular reason, then push for that reason. But you got to know what that reason is. And I think you can have the best laid out strategy for either growth or scaling, whatever you wish to call it. And yes, we do know there is a difference, but you can have the best plan done at the wrong time, and you will do damage. You will do damage. You know, it's not a race. It's not a race for you're racing against all other entrepreneurs, you know, and you got to get your car there first. It's not a race. Your business needs to be what you need it to be. So if you are competing with the Joneses, do not do that, because you will turn your business into something that you don't actually need. Or want. I saw that. I can read lips. So just be very careful. You know, if it's a thing of I'm just going to go out there, I'm going to be gung-ho and I'm going to push and grow, you might want to take a step back and understand why your business exists in the first place, where you want it to go. If grow is what you need, well, then you need to understand that you have to have the support within your business to do so. One of the posts, I read a post recently, and if somebody's read this before, because I can't remember who created it. It was one of the reels on YouTube. I can't remember who created it. So if somebody realizes where it comes from, then please mention so in the comments, because I can't give credit. I can't remember where it came from. But the story goes along the lines of a business that's doing extremely well. And one of their top key performers approaches the big boss man and goes, "Sorry, I need to resign. I found a position somewhere else." And he was disturbed. He was like, "Why? Why do you want to leave?" And her response was, "I have no idea where this company is going, and I have no idea what my role in this journey is. So I've found a role in a different space." And he realized it was for him, his response to it was one of the biggest life lessons he'd ever learned. And from that point onwards, he was including his staff in the direction the company is going, what their role is in getting them to that destination. He could then rely on them a lot more because they understood their role, they understood their part, and it felt like more of something that was cohesive, where when they succeeded, everybody knew exactly what their part in that success was. Whereas before, everybody was just doing their job and getting paid to do their job, but they didn't quite feel like they were part of something cohesive. So if you don't have the solid foundation with your staff or with your members or with your team or whatever it is you want to call them, if you don't have that, please stay away from the scaling process, because you will shoot yourself in the foot, which is something that this gentleman learned. And the nice thing about people that learn things and then display those things to the world, so whoever this gentleman is, I want to thank him. I cannot remember his name for the life of me, but just by watching one reel, I learned a lesson that he'd already learned. So a big shout out and a big thank you to Mr. Nameless that I cannot remember. But if any of you have actually seen the reel, just drop in the comments in the chat, because it would be nice to give him credit for what he was saying. Other than that, when you've started your business and you understand your purpose and it comes back as a mission statement, like, this is our mission, this is what we wanted to achieve. And if your mission statement is created years ago, and ours was to save the global economy one small business at a time, and 5 years later, stepping into the Ignite program and, creating that space with students, and then to have a student create a post about their experience, and their experience related perfectly back to our original mission statement. And her response in the post was, and her name is Bonakele. So Bonakele, if you're watching, your post was absolutely beautiful. It's on, if you look up Bonakele on LinkedIn, you'll see her post about the Ignite program. And she states in there, saving one Bonakele at a time. And to me, it just highlights the fact that I know that the people in my space and the people that surround me and the coaches and the whole rollout and drive has led somebody to restate my original statement, which is absolutely fantastic. So Bonakele, thank you very much. It meant a lot to us.
I love that. I love that, Peter. And yes, I have been loving, she's not the only one. There's been a lot of students have been posting on LinkedIn about the show, about the Ignite program, and I'm super grateful. And it's a blast to watch them grow. They've grown so much in the past 10 weeks, and I think that's just amazing. I don't personally know them, but I feel like I do, because they participate in the show. They've been to Goslin, the referral circle, and so on and so forth. So I can't wait to watch them keep growing, for sure. Niki, I want you to go, and then I'll take a question from the live audience. Go ahead. Welcome. Missed you.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm thinking maybe this is the first one this year, actually. So scalability. I have done quite a bit of sort of reading up on and speaking to people, not necessarily for that purpose, but it comes into the conversation. And what struck me with some of the people, some of the business owners that I've spoken to is, they want to scale, and I kind of ask, why? Why do you want to scale? Because I find, and I'm probably one of the biggest culprits of this as well, is that a lot of business owners or solopreneurs or small business owners don't necessarily understand what scaling could necessarily mean in terms of, you know, what it actually is. You know, it's sometimes scaling your business doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go global or you're going to go huge. It means possibly, and Steve and well, everyone actually can correct me if I'm wrong, but to my mind, scaling can sometimes mean just scaling within the niche that you have, whether it's geographical, whether it's, you know, subject specific, or, you know, if you're online or whatever the case is. And then the other thing that's kind of I've pondered on as well, and I've actually, you know, I hadn't asked those people directly because it's, you know, is just because you want to scale, should you? Because a successful business is not necessarily a scalable business, in my mind. You know, not everybody. And again, it goes to the points that have been so lovely and brilliantly raised so far. You know, again, you have to have your outcome. You have to have the end in mind. You need to have your solid team, and that's also come up in quite a few of the meetings and connections I've made over the last few months, how important that team is. Because, and going back to the Formula One analogy, if you can have the best driver with the best car in the world, and if your pit crew, if one guy on that pit crew is 30 or 20 or 15 seconds slower changing those tires than everyone else, it can cost you the race. So if you don't have that team, and taking it into a business context, I've been chatting to people, especially here in the UAE. I'm in Dubai, in case you didn't know, and with the amount of expats that live over here, and I've actually done the math. The language barrier with English, for example, being the first language, often lets the front line down, especially with brick and mortar, but even with customer support and things like that. If you don't have those in place, where it's not even a well-oiled machine, it's like liquid, it runs like that. When you're scaling, or even thinking about scaling, you're going to fall down, and you could possibly lose everything because of the financial investment that needs to be put in, the time investment that needs to be put in, and bringing other people on board, or whatever the case is, depending on your business model and your business plan. So, there's so much to consider when thinking about scaling up or scaling out, even if that's a term, because, if you're, and I think it's more, your reason, and is your business actually scalable? Because you could destroy your business trying to scale it, like lose money and everything like that, when you had a perfectly successful business within its, own sort of, where it is right now. And your people, I think, is probably the most important thing. And you've got to hire the character that you want in your business, and teach them the skills, because you can't teach character, you can't teach that sort of thing. Anyway, that's my bit. That's me.
I love that, Niki. I love it. You're right. You can't teach character, and if you're not reviewing the character of your team or yourself, not just your team and yourself, then yeah, you're going to have to go through those very, very hard lessons. And like you said, they can be financially damaging, time damaging, not just to yourself, but to your team. If you hired all these people and it falls apart, you've let your team down. If you can't pay your team, all those things. I mean, a lot goes into that. Okay, there's so many good questions over here. Let me pick one of them. Depke? I'm trying, y'all. Really trying these names. Her questions, Mr. Levy, is it possible to get tired of growing your business and feel as though you've outgrown it?
Yes.
I agree. That was pretty simple. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I think, it again, Sondra, I think exactly what Niki said is, understand what you're in your business for, when you want to scale it, why do you want to scale it? And yeah, I think you can get to a point where you kind of outgrow your business for whatever reason, or you just want to move on to do something else. So yeah, it's and sell it if you want to. Nothing wrong with it. I think sometimes there's this thing through all the marketing that we've been punished with is and I'm not talking about the marketers, but this Marlon could probably help me out here, is where they say you get all these things in your email, 10x your business and 10x this, and you must do this and you must do that with your business. And I think we just get led to believe that, if we don't scale our business, there's something wrong with us. And no, I agree with Niki. You can have a very good business, and if you scale it, and Peter actually alluded to that, if the timing is not right, but if you're also scaling it for the wrong reasons, okay, that doesn't equal success. It doesn't necessarily equal success. Exactly what Niki and Peter said is that your business could actually go back. You could destroy a good business. So I think you have to be very careful in thinking about, I'm going to highlight what Niki said, big WHY. Why do you want to scale it? Is it because you feel you have to? Because you're under pressure from people? I don't know. It's and Pete said it's your business. Understand why you're in the business and do what you want with it. But when you make the decision, make them for the right reasons, not for other people. Do it for you and the reasons you're in business, and so on. And there's just one thing before you go to Mikey, is that I wanted to say, I think also we need to be very mindful of the world we're living in now. And this comes back to having the right people, the right strategy, and that strategy that I put back going up the mountain, I always refer to as a roadmap, not a blueprint, because it's something for us to reference to. But it is going to change. That's probably the only thing I can guarantee you, is that whatever you planned out probably will change, and you have something to reference to, because the world is changing. But if you don't have it, if you don't have that sound strategy, you've got nothing to reference to, you will go off the mountain. You'll just end up wandering in the wilderness. So I think it's about adaptability, and then with your people through diversity, a lot of innovation and adaptability is being called upon now, whether you're scaling or not. And Niki, I agree with you, have the right people in business just for a successful business, irrespective of whether you're scaling or not. But I know there are a lot of people who want to talk, so I'm going to shut up.
Thank you, Mr. Levy. For sure. We'll go to Mikey. I'll try to bounce back and forth as much as I can. All right, Mikey, go ahead.
Evening, everyone. Thanks, Stephen. I love this topic. And just to echo, and it's just a perfect topic because we had watched recently a show called Blackberry. It's a movie, I think it's on Amazon Prime. And it's the whole story about the rise and fall of BlackBerry, the cell phone company. And a lot of what you are talking about, they themselves failed. They were scaling up exponentially, but they lost their values and they lost their way and identity along the lines. And they were just focused on the wrong things. Because at the start, they were innovative, they were truly passionate, and all their values and objectives were for the betterment of mankind and betterment of people's connectivity, etc. But then they hired, and then they had partnerships with very money-driven, profit margin-driven individuals. And in all of that, and as they were getting bigger, they lost their core values, or their identity actually got lost. And lo and behold, came along Steve Jobs and Apple and the iPhone that was extremely innovative with a keyless or touchscreen phone. And Shani and I, you may have noticed, were looking down a lot during the call, but we actually found, and this phone represents what I am talking about. So here's an old BlackBerry. And this BlackBerry, it has a touch screen, right? But it also slides and has a keypad at the bottom, right? So it's dual. And if you type, you can actually type a message on the front here with then you can see the letters, but also slide it and try and use the buttons manually if you want it. Now, as cool and as you think this is a cool design, but this phone actually represents when they started to lose their identity, because it's a neither nor. It's trying to be a jack of all trades but master of none. This was just toward the end of their collapse, and because we remember BlackBerry is only having the keypad at the bottom, but here they thought, no, we can compete with smartphones by combining the two, whereas they should have just abandoned the keypad altogether and developed a very high performance smartphone with just a screen like what we have today. And this is, and I told Shani, this is like gold. We must keep this particular one like gold, because it's a representative. It's a representation of a loss of identity, because you can see it's got dual functions in it. Although it's nifty, but in terms of market and your customer base and what they want and what appeals to them, they missed it completely. But Stephen, it's so many what you're describing, and in South Africa's context as well, it's quite hurtful, and I get depressed almost when I look at the news, and and I say this for the South African audience in particular. So many prominent companies are having trouble. Pick and Pay is one of the big ones. Elias closed down. Edgar's, game stores, many known, well-established brands in South Africa, big-name brands. Even the petrol stations, as you know, Shell is leaving South Africa. Caltex already sold to Astron. But when you do a little bit of digging, you find that these companies, they, from where they started, and you look at where they began, and what they stood for and why they giving up or selling off, you can see they lost their ways. And sometimes the values we speak of, you also have to be wary, because it's not only the grounding founders that we consider the values of the company to be solidified in, and that be wary of people as you scale up, people you hire, make sure that they share the same values. But sometimes even the founders, they forget their own values that they started with, and some of these big companies, you find that the what they stood for, what they wanted at the beginning, and where they are now, and I don't know if it's age plays its hand, or whether the wealth plays its hand as they grow, but they themselves start forgetting what they stood for, and I think it's something for entrepreneurs to remember and never forget what they always started and got into the business for and company for, and never lose sight of that, no matter how big you get or how wealthy or much money or market cap you are in the end, but never lose sight of that and keep innovating. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the rant.
Thank you, Mikey.
Can
so
I just
much.
say something quickly to Mikey? Just as he said, that reminded me of something my late dad always told me, and this was from sport, and I carried it over into business. There were two things, Mikey. He said to me, he says, never ever be bigger than the game itself, and never forget where you came from. And that,
Love that. I'm gonna pull another question from the live audience. Please forgive me, Tabessa. How do you manage investors' expectations when scaling? Because investors are just interested in making money. And as Mr. Lee said, if you scale too fast, it could be detrimental. So, Mr. Lee, you want to address that? If you have investors, how do you keep them happy, quote unquote, but not scale, like hurt your business, I guess is what she's asking.
Okay, so well, my answer to that is exactly what Mikey was talking about, is make sure that you also align with the right investor. If you've got an investor that purely just wants to come in and ramrod your business and just make money out of it as quickly as possible, it's probably not. They probably have the money to suffice for your growth, but if they're not on the same page as you and don't align to your business, then it's probably not the right investor for you. But investors also, I think your true investors out there, the guys that genuinely invest in business, they understand business. They understand that things don't, and they'll question you. If you ask, I've seen it. You've seen it on shows like the Shark Tank and Dragon's Den and all those things. But people that are investing in your business will probably question if you're going to ask them for investment to scale up too quickly. So if you show them that you're also going to do it in stages, and that, yes, you need so much money, but they don't need to invest all that money now. They can walk that journey with you. And I think then you've got the right investor on board, and sometimes could also be a great mentor to you if they want to be. It depends how you get them into your business, but that requires communication and so on.
I love that. I love that, Mr. Levy. Come on in, Peter. We got about 5 more minutes. We got to wrap up.
Okay. 2 things. The timing for a pit crew in Formula One on average is 2.6 seconds. From lift of the car to off they go again, 2.6 seconds. And the difference in timing between the fastest and the slowest is 1 second. That helps you understand how crucial every single member is when they are working down to split seconds. It's insane, absolutely insane. And to watch them perform, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I actually don't watch Formula One, but I do watch the pit crew videos. I don't know why. I just do. Second thing, to me, I think this is a bit of a golden nugget, and a lot of people fail to see it. Maybe it's because I'm just weird, but if you are a solo entrepreneur and you are looking to scale, if you are building towards yourself, which means that absolutely everything in your business relies on just you, then you can only scale and build according to your limitations, your skill set. You are your own limitation. So from the very beginning, when you are building your business, a complete understanding of who you are, your values, what you believe, where you want the business to go, so that as you start to grow your space, you attract people that believe in what you believe and understand the vision of where it is that you're going. Then you can create a space where the space does not rely on just you. Now you have the ability to scale based on the skill sets of multiple people in one space and not just your own. It is super important that even before you position people within your own space, that you don't just go onto LinkedIn and go, oh, look at this person's qualification, they'll do. No. There has to be that I know this person, I understand this person, I trust this person, they understand me, they understand my values. They can repeat to me where this business is supposed to go, even though it's not their own. There needs to be that drive. If that doesn't exist, then you basically just have another employee that's working for their paycheck. And can we expect the people that we pay to do more than what they're paid for? No. Who has to be the hardest working person in your space? The employees that you pay or you? Yourself. So if you're the kind of person that likes to build something and gets bored and likes to move on to something else, you find that you have many different objects up in the air and you cannot juggle them all at the same time. If you're building towards yourself, if you are building away from yourself, you can build based on real relationships, sustainable spaces that continue to grow that you can take your attention off those spaces for a period of time because you've already put trusted people in those spaces. So an example, coffee shop conversation show was one of the things I was responsible for the longest period of time. Did I want to let the coffee shop conversation show go? No. Did I have the capacity to continue functioning that space and step into other spaces? The answer is no. I did not have the capacity. I could not, certain things I had to decide to drop. The coffee shop conversation show was one of those spaces I did not want to drop at all. Hence, relationship, hence, Sondra. Strategically, does it work for me? Yes. Question, does it work for Sondra too? There has to be that balance when you're working with people. Unless you are paying somebody for a particular task, if it doesn't line up with them and it doesn't line up with where they're going, you can build those strategic relationships and you can build away from yourself, which means that all you need to do is keep your fingers on the pulse of what is going on and drive the vision. It makes your job a lot easier and it creates the space for scaling and it makes it a lot easier too. So depending on your character, do you want to build towards yourself and control everything? Or do you want to build away from yourself? Just food for thought.
I love that. I love that, Peter. Just why I love my creative clients and why my quarterly review has a multiple business review workbook, because I want people that have multiple businesses to make sure they're reviewing everything. And knowing your values and knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. You have to know what you're good at, what you're not good at, what Sally's good at, what Sally's not good at. Like, you need to know that to build multiple businesses. 90% of my clients have multiple businesses and they're good at it and they can be good at it. You just have to know who you need, what you need, and how you're going to grow it. Niki, I'll give you like 2 minutes.
It's okay. I've made notes.
Okay,
So,
go.
just to go quickly to what Mikey was saying, I read an interesting thing literally the other day, about Shell. You know, when you were saying about they lost their values and everything. Shell, the origin of Shell, it was actually a company where they picked and sold seashells. And it ended up turning into, what it is, because the guy, saw market trends, or I don't know, whatever the case is, and that made more sense to go into, what they went into. So it's just, that just struck me when you mentioned that. The pit crew story for Pete, I remember in the 80s, showing my age here, before F1 left South Africa back in the day, I was in the pit crew visiting there, and it was amazing, terrifying, but amazing. And then with investors, for me, it's about transparency at all times. So you, yes, have the right investor for your personality-wise or your business personality, but also setting those parameters and those boundaries so that they know, and always being transparent with them. But what I actually wanted to say was, and it's very quick, and again, I did write it down, and it's talking about Steve's last point, or I've forgotten which point it was, but when he said it's not a blueprint, it's like one of those buzzwords, isn't it? Your blueprint. It isn't a blueprint. It is a roadmap. And I'm literally going to read this, otherwise I'll waffle. And with any journey that we take, we must constantly be checking our GPS to make sure that we are on the right roads, to check for any obstacles that may have arisen, and that there may even be a different, more suitable route for us to take. And then business terms, that's going to be keeping a constant eye on what your clients are saying about you, what your staff are saying about you and what they are saying to your clients. And then also, depending on your business, you know, what the market trends are doing. If you are global, you know, geopolitical issues, weather phenomenon, you know, all that sort of thing. It's, you know, you've got to keep that GPS on. It is a roadmap. It isn't a blueprint, because a blueprint is something that's just done at the beginning, and then it goes when the buildings, it goes in the vault, and then if, you know, disaster happens, they pull it out and say, oh, that was wrong. Whereas a roadmap, it's something that you have constantly with you. Every time you go out, you put that GPS on and you check for any conditions that may have changed. Or yeah, so that's just what I wanted to say. And then I wanted to land with a question, because I actually have the question. Is scaling sometimes a good thing to do as to be an end goal, be your exit strategy from the business? I just wondered about that. I saw a comment on LinkedIn or something about that, and I don't know. Depending on your business, obviously, but yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Levy, answer that question and then give your final thoughts so we can wrap up.
I don't know if I'm 100% qualified to, but I think it can be. In my opinion, because if you're speaking to investors, you could build up your business and make it so scalable that it becomes attractive to other people, but you might not want to be part of that scaling. So yeah, I think it's important, you know. If I look at, this is what Peter was saying, I sit in that position. I'm my business. It's fantastic, but it can also be dangerous. So it's, yeah, but if you want to, it can be your end goal, Niki. Build it up, make it scalable, so make it attractive as a scalable entity.
I love that. I love that. Actually, one of my very first clients, that was always her goal. Create it, scale it, sell it. Repeat, rinse and repeat. And she would have anywhere from 5 to 8 businesses at the same time. And she would just rinse and repeat it. And I've known her to go through, in the last 5 years, 25 businesses. So it is a thing. Mr. Levy, final words really quick so we can get out of here.
Yeah, I think we can, yeah, it's such a fascinating topic, but all your topics on the coffee shop show are fascinating, so different to any other week. But I think, you know, scaling, we just need to be mindful of scaling the business. You know, it requires the right strategy and everything we spoke about, and making sure that you got the right resources and the capacity and all those good things. But I think without effective leadership and people and their people, okay, you can have the best strategy in the world. You will fall short. And that's, I think it was the core that I picked up on what everybody was saying tonight is, and it's true, business is about people. It's a living entity. And even the tech businesses, there are people behind it. So I think, yeah, and if you're going to scale, just understand the reason why. If you're going to go into business, understand the reason why. The big why.
I love that, Mr. Levy. And the name of your business, sir?
It's Dare to Be, Coaching and Beyond. And yeah, I don't coach businesses, I coach in business.
Love it, love it, love it. And of course, Miss Susan will put your links and everybody else's links on the show in the show notes. She also turns it into a podcast. She is also the creator of our cover, so we are super grateful for Susan, and she also helps with posting it on LinkedIn and making sure everybody gets tagged and so on and so forth. Miss Somerville is also another one that's key to us because she helps with social media and many, 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 many other things. My name is Sondra. I'm a goal accountability coach, and I help you with that roadmap to not only create it, but hold you accountable and help you review it so that you stay on track. Mr. Peter, you want to wrap us up and send us on our way?
Sure. For those students that are watching in the background, I doubt whether these points will matter to you much at the moment because most of you have qualified, but I'm going to give them to you anyway. So your code word will be #golden nugget because we dropped some golden nuggets this afternoon. Let Somerville know what you learned. Let her know where you are sharing what you've learned on social media. Have fun with it. We're looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. The whole of Explore ProTech is excited and waiting in the background to watch the results. And then we're excited to accept you into our space when the course comes to an end. So we are waiting for you. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring this to a close using words that Nastine, my co-founder, uses, which is goodness